What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Havdalah Happy Hour. Hope you all had a good break. I'm Ben.
I'm Jill.
I'm Emily.
Jeremy.
It's good to have everybody back after the break, after the snow, after all of the things.
Did it snow?
It did. Well, I forgot we're in sunny Sunshine State,
But
Florida.
No, I was here for the snow.
Yeah, Jeremy, what happened?
My wife wanted to come to work this past Monday, so she wanted to ensure that she was back, even though she works at a school. And
I was going to say, I bet she was disappointed.
I reminded her multiple times, you're not going to have school on Monday. But we still came back early so we could be stuck in the house with the snow rather than in the sun and warm in Florida. But all good.
Well, I'm sure you had a great time in the
Hi,
house.
Jill.
Hi, Jill. I
No,
love being stuck in the house.
Emily, first big snowfall, right?
Yeah, it was a new experience. I have
Did you get your
visited
shovels?
snow before, but this was the first time we've ever had snow where we live. We did have a shovel.
What, one? Just one?
So I ordered 2, and Amazon brought 1 before the snow and 1 yesterday. So that wasn't super helpful, but yes, I shoveled the driveway.
Did you also make the children shovel the driveway?
They helped.
Benny show. I thought I saw a picture.
Benny
of
helped a
They
little bit.
helped.
He had fun like throwing the snow and watching it like sail through the air.
It's shoveling, and I helped.
I did do most of it, felt it the next day, but
Oh, yeah.
it was still fun. The kids made snow duckies with their like snow toys.
I remember this was, I don't know, a bunch of years ago. It wasn't like the blizzard from the 90s, which I also remember.
Blizzard in 96, right?
Right, yeah.
Or was it 93?
No, it was 96.
Okay.
For sure. There might have been
was
like
also one in,
earlier.
like 2000.
Right. So I think that must be what I'm thinking about, because I remember having to dig out the driveway, but it was like digging trenches.
Right.
Like the whole neighborhood looked
So
like a World War I
More
battlefield.
snow than we just got this week.
Yeah, it was a lot.
6 inches.
It was a lot.
So
And then
Emily
it
thought...
was back to back. It was like
Right.
it was
my
like
God.
18 inches and then another 15 inches.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was
And
crazy.
it was in January. I want to say of 2010.
That
Something
sounds
like that.
Where it was like a week break in between or a couple days. And
It was
then
a
we
lot.
got another one.
It
But
was
Emily...
3 days in between.
Emily thought this was a lot of snow when we were talking. I'm
Sure
like, this
did.
was probably a couple. I said, stay tuned. I mean, hopefully not for another couple of years, but
I was told that there's not usually snow that closes schools here.
not in the last few
Typically,
years.
That is
Well,
correct.
let's say snow that closes Schechter and Beth El.
Well, that also is different.
Baltimore County, all the counties, McDonough, those schools close
They have bus service.
if flakes
Right.
fall.
They have bus
and
service.
and also a lot like there's places in Western Howard County and in there's just more rural areas and what I learned when I was a Baltimore County teacher is if the sidewalks around the schools are not shoveled for walkers, they will not open the school.
They have to be careful.
They have to.
Let me just say
Yeah.
this. I distinctly remember being in high school
Here,
during
here.
like a terrible ice storm and everybody else was closed, but there I was at Beth El, Dahan Community School, go Warriors, sitting in my early morning math class with the 3 other people whose parents made them go to school that day. And no teachers, no parent, nobody else.
Oh
There was
my.
just like a handful of kids. And I distinctly remember a school administrator walking into the room and we used to play this game where we would draw a letter of the alphabet on the board, and then we would like turn it into something else, and you had to whatever. It was a fun little game we played. We were playing that game. The school administrator walks in. And she's like, "This doesn't look like algebra." We're like, "Yeah, because we don't know algebra." That's why we're in this math class. And she's
There's
like, well,
letters
she's
in
like,
algebra.
"Well, what are you supposed to be doing?" We're like, "Well, we don't know. Our teacher isn't here. Like, what do
Right.
you want from us?" She's like, "I want you to do algebra." We're like, "We already told you we can't do algebra." But yeah, so she left and we continued to play the game. But like there was like just a handful of kids, everybody else was there, but the school was still open.
I can remember waiting for the bus when it would snow or after the snow, and you couldn't stand on the sidewalk. We had to stand in the street waiting for the, and I mean, there's obviously since then, due to liability and other things, now
Right.
because of what you said, if the sidewalks aren't clean, they
Right.
close it. But I can vividly remember we stand out in the street waiting for the bus to come and go
yeah.
go to school.
We did.
Wow.
I was a walker in elementary school, but I don't drive in the snow Period.
You're
the end.
barely driving the drive.
Right. Period. The end. If it's dry, if it's snowing,
Absolutely not.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't even like to be in a car with anyone in the snow. I'm very anxious. And I'm not a good driver in the snow. So I recognize that. And it's not fair to other people. Like, how selfish is it for me to go, willy-nilly if I'm not comfortable? It's not fair to other drivers, and it's not fair to myself.
It's better to be safe. I
Right.
agree.
I don't know.
And that's what we did with coming home at the end of the day. Actually, I will say Southwest Airlines, who we've talked about many times on this podcast, not a sponsor, by the way, but
Definitely not a sponsor.
sponsorship opportunities are still available. Call Amanda. What I will say is they over communicated with this storm coming in, and probably about 5 days before, they reached out proactively and said, if you want to change your travel, because when you're supposed to fly here, it's during the storm. So we were probably going to do it anyway, but this way we could change the travel without any penalty or add any additional charges. So we ended up coming home last Saturday night to beat the storm, and it was definitely more crowded than it would have been to fly back. And everyone was telling us at the airport, everyone's trying to travel before the storm comes.
So, Jeremy, speaking of your trip, though, we've been waiting to find out.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
all of your
that's what I
bags
wanna
make
know.
it both
I did
directions?
report, just so Jeremy
I
knows,
heard. I
reported that they did not only take carry-ons. that
Yeah,
they
but
did
but that
check
was
Right.
only on the way. I want to know what
Right.
happened on the way back, and I
Oh,
want to
I
make sure
hear
that
that.
everything was good with the bags.
Yep.
It will pain me to talk for the next 2 minutes about this
Oh,
experience.
no.
I'm truly, it's going to pain me to do this, and you all understand in a minute, but I lost the battle. And Jill, I don't know if you told this story or not, but the morning we were leaving, Jill stopped over at the house for a few minutes. And as she's walking into the house, she opens the door and her eyes are just wide open, jaw dropped to the floor.
I did it for all of you to see.
As she walks in and sees these two gigantic suitcases
Enormous.
by
Oh,
the
man.
door.
To be honest with you, Jeremy, I'm surprised.
I lost that fight. It was a good fight. Up until probably 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock the night before, I said, we can fit this in. I don't even need a suitcase practically because I have a full wardrobe of where we're going this day. I keep stuff down
And
there.
you do know that
You can
each
get it when you get
person
there.
can take 2 bags on the airplane.
I repeated that over and over. But anyway, it is,
You had 4 seats, which means 8 carry-ons.
again, I
lost.
lost that battle. But I will say this, our flight from Baltimore down to Fort Lauderdale, I don't have anything for you guys. It
Perfect.
couldn't have gone any
Are
easier.
there any
Well, that's
bumps?
great.
Flight was
bumps?
it was a clear day to fly. Now coming back a little different. We'll talk about that in a minute. But
I'm already
Go-
nervous.
but going down the flight also half full.
Oh,
So
that's also always very
normally
nice.
where my wife or myself will sit in a row with both kids, and then the other one sits on the next aisle. Actually, it's always my wife sits with the 3 kids, and I sit on with the
Well,
2
you have
kids.
2 kids.
And
Unless
I
you
s-
want to tell us something.
And no, it's 2. It's 2, but it's 3 seats. So my wife will sit with the 2 kids in one row, and I'll sit on the aisle. But this allowed us to spread out, and I sat with my daughter in one, so she could have the window, and my wife over there. So it was a great experience going down.
Nice.
The bags did make it to Fort Lauderdale when we
Yeah,
got there.
yeah, very nice.
And then I'll say coming back, things were a little rushed. Airports were packed. We actually moved from Fort Lauderdale to West Palm Beach to come home. And part of that was on a Saturday, or I'll say this. Fort Lauderdale, you already know where I'm going because of your family business.
Right.
Fort Lauderdale, Saturdays, cruises, stay away.
Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Do
If
not
you
go
have
near those
ever
airports.
tried to go into a Fort Lauderdale airport, or I guess the Miami airport, when
Miami's
those cruises...
worse.
When those cruises, we've literally been on airplanes where people are getting off of cruises. They're still in their bathing suits, and they're just on the plane with like a boombox and a bathing suit and an empty cooler. And
I just don't
Are they
understand.
carrying boom boxes still?
Remember that?
on
Remember
cruises, people still carry boomboxes. Yes,
I've seen Poseidon Adventure.
God.
Have you all seen Poseidon
I
Adventure?
haven't.
I just don't understand how people have not seen this movie or have seen this movie and still choose to go on cruises. Like,
Because cruises are fun.
they are not fun. They are not fun.
I don't think
no.
I'm with
put
you.
My brother
I-
and me through college and helped pay for a wedding. My dad is in the business, so
I like
it's been
cruises.
very beneficial.
I
to
can't.
my
I can't
life.
Well,
do
so
it.
what we did was we ended up when we changed our flight from Monday to
Whenever it was.
First,
it
we were
doesn't
supposed
matter.
to come home Tuesday, but then prior to going, we switched
Oh,
it
you
to Monday.
were?
Long story. But when we switched to Saturday, we also switched airports, so
Right.
we could avoid that. But West Palm, which our listeners probably know, is a much smaller airport, but it was crowded. Flight was full. Again, we had our 2 checked bags to go, and we got back to Baltimore late Saturday night, which was an adjustment.
I
It was
just got an email that said "burr."
It was
Text, I mean.
at about probably 12 o'clock in the afternoon Saturday. We were out in Wellington, Florida at this playground. It's sunny. It's 75. It's beautiful. And literally 5 hours later, we're walking out to our car at BWI, and I think it was like 8 degrees when we got in Saturday night and looked at it. But both bags arrived.
Yay.
And for the storm that we were coming into Saturday night, there was wind, I guess, coming in front of the storm, that the snowstorm that hit. I expected the worst. And again, shout out to Southwest Airlines. The pilots left the plane quickly because they had another flight, but they did an incredible job navigating. It took us a little longer to get home, but they flew around as best as they could, and coming in, down out of the clouds, very few bumps.
You know,
So-
we don't
Really?
like to disparage airlines unless we have to, so it's nice that they did a good job.
Right.
Both ways, go inbound and outbound to Florida. It was great. The crews were great.
Air travel is challenging.
But if all the stars align, and that's what I said going down to my wife. I said, we have had so many issues, so many problems over the last couple of years flying. I feel like that 1 out of 10, this is our amazing,
Great.
just
Great.
wasn't an issue. So
So
Yeah.
I had very similar experiences, though. Instead of going to the southeast, I went to the southwest, going to Arizona
on Southwest.
on Southwest.
So you flew
I flew
Southwest.
Southwest
To
on
the
Southwest.
Southwest. All right,
Okay.
all right.
And in order
That's always
to
nice.
go from Baltimore to Tucson, you actually cannot go nonstop. So we had 2
And
flights
that's
in each
where I
direction.
get extra Ativan.
And I actually had amazing experiences. My kids are all at the age where they were completely self-sufficient on the flight,
That
entertaining
is very
themselves.
nice.
At what age does that start?
Apparently, when the youngest is 10.
Oh,
Youngest is 10. So I'm like
you're a
You
little
got a
ways
little
away.
bit of
7 more
time.
years.
You've got a little bit of time.
Okay.
But they were really good. We had a nice sunny experience in Arizona, soaked up the sun.
Was it
Um,
warm the whole time?
It was warm the whole time, like
Mm.
t-shirts, like
See, this is
Very
what
warm.
everyone should do.
yeah. Why are we
Absolutely
here in
right.
the winter? I really want to be a snowbird, but I can't do that.
Me too.
I understand why people do it now.
Well, technically you could if your husband signed on to you being gone for 3 or 4 months of the year.
Yeah, because obviously you can't do that when you have children in school.
Again,
or a job
well-
where you need to be in person.
Exactly. But no, we had a really nice time visiting family. All our bags were fine. All of our flights were fine. The kids were fine. It was really nice. It was just interesting because we actually were supposed to touch down back in Baltimore at 12:05 a.m. New Year's. Like we were supposed to be
Secular New Year.
flying. Yes, secular New
Secular.
Year's.
through the new year.
We were supposed to like see the fireworks as we were coming down, but the flight was running early and we
Mm.
touched down
Tailwinds.
at midnight, even though it left 20 minutes late, which makes no sense to me.
I
It's
do.
the
I
air-
never
I don't get
understand it.
I can tell you, it's the Airstream. When you are flying from the West Coast to the
Right,
East
flying
Coast,
to
just
Vegas
like
home is an hour quicker.
it takes, just like from Florida, going down to Florida, it's about a 2 hour and 25-minute flight. Coming back, it should be under 2 hours coming because
they should have planned for that. Like they shouldn't have.
No, here's
left.
the
I don't
reason why they
know.
don't do that. And again, I've unfortunately learned about this the hard way over the years, but they factor in the plane running a little late, boarding a little
Wow.
late, that taxiing time from the gate
That's
onto the runway.
X
Oh, that's
factor is the
counted.
taxiing time.
So, and
So-
here, I'll give you a perfect example real quick coming home.
Thing open.
Right, our scheduled flight to come from West Palm Beach back to Baltimore was, I think it's still scheduled for 2.5 hours, even though it should have taken an hour, let's say 2 hours, there's an extra 30 minutes. We were 30 minutes late leaving because the flight attendants got stuck somewhere in Florida, probably a bar or something, I don't know, but they were late. So even with a delay getting out of there, they still keep it at that set time, so our flight was still on time.
Okay. Well, if we had touched down at 12:05, we would have seen fireworks, but we touched down at 12. And, you go from the plane to the building to get your bags. So by the time we were out, we had missed all of the fireworks. Yeah.
Let me ask
Not
you
a big
this.
deal.
So you celebrated the
It
New
would've been
Year from
cool
like
to-
Concourse B
It
at
would've been cool to see
PWI.
them
Pretty
from the
much.
airplane.
It would have
That
been cool.
really
But I
cool.
guess I'm also glad that we didn't get hit by fireworks. So there's that.
True.
Let-
But
let-
you were far enough away from the city.
No, but still, when you're coming down towards
Yeah,
that,
you
I
don't
never
have
really.
any-
I mean, I know they do their best, but if someone has backyard fireworks, and we're talking
Right.
about like Glen Burnie, Linthicum, in Anne Arundel
Yeah.
County, which is not probably unreasonable.
No.
All the residential areas you fly
Yes.
over. If someone's shooting something up in the sky,
Yeah. So I had that thought. But
Okay,
We're
so
all
let me,
safe.
let
We're all
me-
good.
Let me ask you this question. When you went back to Tucson, did you feel like you were flying back home, or did you feel like you were flying back home when you landed here in Baltimore?
that's such an interesting
ooh,
question.
that's a great question.
Because it definitely felt like I was going home in both directions.
Oh,
Like I was going back, but I wasn't like going home. Like I stayed at my parents' house, which I haven't lived with my parents in like 20 years. So
How was that?
it was really nice. I mean, the
Yeah,
kids
that's
played
nice.
with my parents and their dogs, and I had aunts and uncles, and my brother came in and visited.
oh
I have
that
another
sounds
brother
really
there.
nice.
So, I mean, it was a whole family reunion.
Lovely.
I saw my
That's great.
grandmother. So it was really nice spending time with family. So it kind of felt like, I don't know, it's weird. It's the first time I've been back home, Arizona home, since I moved here. But I was also really looking forward to coming back and having
Yeah.
Sufganiot
Yeah, right.
because
Don't exist in Tucson.
no. Mm-mm.
We
So,
have some good ones here.
oh yes, yes, we went to the bakery the day
Mhm.
we got back and filled up on all different kinds.
Yeah. It was nice. I went to a Hanukkah party too, and I also went to the bakery, and I got one of each, and I think they had 24
Oh,
different flavors. So I made them
Wow.
get one of each, and we tasted all of them, and it was super fun.
That's awesome. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of flavors.
I know, but it was great.
Yeah, it's fun.
And then you are head, and we have to tell all of our listeners and our viewers, we are actually pre-recording this week because of our schedules, and the only way to sync this up was to record a little early this week, not that early. But you are getting ready to head out west again.
I am.
Maybe.
Not enough flying. Well, let's hope.
Maybe.
I am supposed to be going to the Coltafila conference in Los Angeles. this
California, yeah.
weekend.
And
I
welcome
love
to
Los
the party.
Angeles. I
And-
never want to live there, but I
Right.
love visiting Los Angeles. I'm very concerned about the fires out there right now.
While we record this,
Yeah.
they are in the midst of some, they're horrific fires and a windstorm. And the videos and photos are just
Scary.
horrible.
I have friends out there that are evacuating their homes. So I'm hoping it doesn't affect the conference. It's affecting a lot of things, but we will see soon if I'm able to attend. But if so, I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to go to Coltafila and learn about lots of different ways to enhance Shabbat for families, for children.
Love it.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Excited
love
to
it.
hear about it. And how long are you
Definitely.
gone? You're gone a week?
Like 3 days.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the
All right.
whirlwind
Yeah.
travel.
Well, so then you'll tell us about it next week when you get
Yep.
back.
Yeah, amazing.
Great.
I am looking at flights to visit Israel in the spring.
Oh,
so
very nice.
we'll see how that goes.
I go nowhere.
Yeah, Jill does not travel.
Actually, I think I'm
Not
going-
That's
true.
not true.
Jill, not
Yeah,
true.
that is
Jill,
not true.
That is not true.
You've been to Atlantic City. Didn't you used to go to Vegas every year?
Yes, but we're not this year. But I'm going away on a girls' weekend in February.
To
yeah,
where?
she goes to
Giving
the
you
beach
the
all the
warning
time.
now.
She
To
goes away
where?
a lot.
Maybe Frederick to stay in an Airbnb with three of
Frederick?
my girlfriends.
That's where you go to Frederick?
Just to get away with some friends
Mm.
for a couple days.
Mm.
Nothing-
I don't like to fly.
Nothing wrong with Frederick.
Jill skipped. There's many, many, many things wrong with Frederick. But Jill skipped services. Was it last week that you did? Like right immediately after Shabbat ended.
I was like holding my phone, waiting for Ben to text me.
and I
Yeah, we're
said
like,
do that
"Where's
GIF
Jill?"
from
You've got some splaining to
That's
do.
right. That's what. Correct. So yes, you need to submit all travel authorization and requests in advance,
exactly.
in
But
writing.
I will be here this Saturday. I'm looking for. We have a bat mitzvah, Mallory Whiteman.
Yeah,
I'm
and
very
it's,
excited.
Island Shabbat.
Island Shabbat. It's going to be a really fun weekend here.
Fantastic.
And the snow forecast looks like maybe 1 inch Saturday morning. So
1 inch is like a nothing.
I'll start walking at 7 a.m. and I'll be here by 10.
Oh my
It'll be
God.
great.
Check our social media platforms. That is a plug.
Except that,
coming
this is
out
going to be coming out
afterwards.
after Shabbat ends already. So
Oh, that's right. So then people already know about Island Shabbat also.
yes,
right.
which we already.
Okay. Yeah. Again, apologies
will
to
have
our
been
listeners
great.
We don't know
and
for the
viewers. But
It will
pre-recording
have
doesn't
been
know.
great.
Great.
It will have been great.
Great.
That's right.
and this is why we do not pre-record this
That's
show.
right.
Anyway, with that being said, guess what time it is, guys?
It's time for Shonda of the week.
Wait, are we still using this music or are we not?
too
for
happy.
I
Shonda?
thought it was like kind of happy, but you know what? I could get used to it.
I think like a 90s sitcom when I hear this.
Yeah.
We can go with that.
I miss the 90s. I was talking with a friend recently about how much I miss the 90s.
It wasn't that long ago.
It was.
It really was.
It really
I know.
was. Think about it.
It's 25 years
I
ago.
know. I can't even
26
handle it.
years
It's,
ago.
Yeah.
but
Does
I
not
do
feel
miss
like
it.
All the music I listened to from the 90s
Yep.
still.
I've in
all
fact
the
been
TV
thinking about
shows
it since.
I watch on reruns from the 90s. The majority of my clothes are still from the 90s. Yeah, I'm still in the 90s.
I miss it terribly. All right, Shonda of the week. Jill, you're up.
All right. So my Shonda of the week falls back to my dental woes.
Oh no, still.
I cracked a tooth whilst we were away from each other, and I wasn't even eating anything good. Like I wasn't
Again?
eating. Yeah, I wasn't eating a Fireball. I was eating a Hershey's Kiss. But that little
Just a regular one, not one of the many different flavors they
it
come
was
in.
actually a white chocolate peppermint. It was
oh.
delicious. You know I love peppermint.
I also enjoy peppermint.
And I cracked my tooth, but I want to say that
As schnapps.
my Shonda of the week is that. However, thank you, Dr. Sugarman. Thanks
Not
to
sponsored.
him. Not sponsored. However, he deserves a free plug. He and Cindy I walked in. I was so calm. I was so nice. I said,
I'm shocked.
I know. Because I trusted him because of how amazingly he handled the whole crisis of
Abscess.
TMJ, fake abscess. And it was a Shonda because who wants to get Novocaine and hear that drill? However, it wound up being a fine experience.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
All right. Emily, what you got?
Okay, so I could definitely go Shonda is the fires, but that's huge, and I'm going to go Petty.
Petty. I love Petty. I love
we
Petty.
love Petty. on
Petty
the
is our that's
Havdalah.
us.
I know. So this has been like on my mind since I got back from my trip to Arizona because everything about the flying and everything was wonderful, except that on every flight, and there was 4 of them, there was somebody who was listening to a movie or music or a video game without headphones.
No,
I hate
not
that.
appropriate.
It's
Nope.
so
Nope.
rude.
Unacceptable.
Throw
It's
them
so
off the plane.
rude.
So
Absolutely
the staff didn't intervene?
Nope, none of them.
See,
None of the flights did
I've
anybody
noticed
intervene.
in my recent travels that the crews of the planes have been very like lax. You know, you see in like movies how strict they all are, and like
Yeah.
no, they've
They
all been
didn't do
very like
anything.
lazy and not
But you
doing
know what?
anything.
I think that that's really the culture now because along those same lines, I went to a comedy show a couple of weeks ago at a place in Timonium, and it was a very strict.
The place by Chili's?
Yeah.
Okay.
No video policy. And there were people like this with their video camera
Oh,
and,
yeah.
the staff
Doing it
kept
anyway.
walking by. And my girlfriends and I were such rule followers. We're like, oh my
Right.
God, I cannot believe. Why is it along the
Right.
same lines,
My
I've noticed
children all
specifically
had their
with-
they're
headphones.
scared of
with air
confrontation,
crews.
I think.
Well, you see
Especially in
those
the air.
videos.
That's
People
possible.
get crazy.
But, and then you see them; they all end up on the internet, and
Right.
you know
But
we've all
my-
seen those
right, and
videos.
my
But that does
girlfriends
not
and I are
excuse.
like, we're not going to be like tattletales, but it was like we were following the rules. What, like,
Right, and I'm sitting trying to read my book, and
What book? Anything good?
I'm trashy romance, Jewish trashy romance.
Oh, did you get it from Rabbi Zaslow, who loves Jewish trashy
No,
romances?
we just both happen to enjoy those. But
she did a whole sermon. That was
I
one of
know.
my favorite
Yeah.
sermons of hers.
well, I just started the book Olive Days, which was actually written by somebody I knew in Tucson,
Oh,
and so far so good. But I was trying to read my book, and I was getting distracted by all of these
would
noises
drive me
coming from
crazy.
people's devices that I shouldn't have had
Really
to hear.
weird.
I'm already angry when I'm on a plane. That
So
would
what I
be
will
even
say, and I'm surprised to hear that because it's actually, to the best of my knowledge, it's against FAA regulation to listen to something without headphones on, like
Oh,
for
really?
safety reasons.
Oh.
And I have been on flights where someone actually, one time we were taking off probably from Fort Lauderdale, probably on a Saturday after the cruise people got on. And literally as we're on the runway and the plane starts going to take off, some guy starts blasting music where the flight attendant actually gets on the PA system and says, shut it off, shut it off, shut it off. So
it
I'm
wasn't
surprised
blasting.
that-
It was just that it was like
loud enough that you
close
could hear it.
enough
But you could hear it, and that's
in proximity
weird because
to me.
the airplane already has that the noise of
The
the engine,
ambient,
right? So, and that's loud already. That's pretty loud. So,
because I can tell you on one of our flights, my daughter started listening to her iPad and we didn't put the headphones in yet. And flight attendant actually walked by and said, you have to put headphones on. And they were literally in my hand. We
Yeah.
were giving it to her. So
Quick
I guess
on the
it just
draw there.
depends the crew you get.
Yeah.
But then I just saw a video and it came through my Instagram reels or feed or whatever it is yesterday of these two flight attendants dragging some woman down the aisle of a plane who was spitting at all the passengers.
gross.
And I was, these
That
poor
is a
flight
crime.
attendants. But I mean, we talk about the crews on
Yeah.
planes and these flight attendants. I mean, once you're up in the sky, if you don't have an air marshal on your plane,
Yeah.
those flight attendants have to, I mean, I want the pilots to fly the plane, don't come back. And
I wish
they
there
don't
was
know
an air
what they're
marshal
going
on
to.
every plane.
on El Al there is.
Obviously.
Oh, well, for sure.
I think they're actually more
Most,
on there.
right?
And or again, most of the time, the air marshals aren't going to get involved with that. They're there for one reason, to get involved with something that is
Safety.
escalated to the top. Someone spitting, they're probably
I
not
wonder
going
when
to.
was the last time a plane got hijacked, like for
Oy.
realsies? Like when
God
was
forbid.
that?
That
In this country?
No, just like any was that recent?
24
Like
years
There
ago.
were
Has
a
it
couple
been?
plane
No,
crashes over the last couple of weeks, like
because of
overseas.
hijacks.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm
No.
curious
Yeah.
about hijacking, because that used to be way more common
And
and way more common than we all remember.
I think they happen more
Like
outside
Beirut.
of this country and maybe.
Beirut, like there were, but there were two plane crashes, and there were survivors, I think, of both of them.
Oh, I know. My wife was closely monitoring
Ah,
before
I'm
and
sure she
during our
was.
travel.
But I feel like that increases her odds of there not being a plane crash for her.
We've just
That's where my
solidified
mind
that Jill will not be on a plane for
Ever.
Right.
the next year.
Ever again.
All
Probably
right,
not my
next
wife either.
Shonda.
Okay, so here's mine, and it has to do with the weather. Okay, so I love the cold, but I hate the snow. And my least favorite thing about the snow is digging out your car and cleaning off the car, especially after like significant snowfall. So Yvonne, actually, shout out to Yvonne, gave me this thing I could put on my windshield so that I wouldn't have to do
Before she left for her 2-week cruise.
before she left for
Yay.
her. So yes, so she's been not yay. It's not helpful to me.
I know. So I'm happy
that
for
Yvonne
her.
has disappeared for all this time.
we
But
miss her.
she did give me this thing. So I was grateful for that, but it's still like the rest of the car. And so the thing that's worse about the cleaning off, inevitably, whenever you go to dig out your car, you swiping it off, but then the wind comes and blows it right back in your face. And like, it's just a terrible experience. I hate everything about it. And when I went to go and do it on whatever day it was, like Tuesday, I guess I went on Tuesday to dig out my car. I was not having a good time at all. I really hated everything about it, and
Were
it was
your neighbors
awful.
outside? Like, were you all outside together?
Not at all. There was, I think, maybe two other people that were digging. I saw there was actually one person that I saw that went out there with their little stick thing, did one line on their windshield, that got in the car, and then drove. I was like,
That is a Shonda.
oh my God. Like, because like when you stop, the snow falls from the roof, or like it flies
to the car
into
behind
you.
you.
Like it's just like
That's
snow
a Shonda.
everywhere, and I can't handle it, and I hate everything about it. So shame on everyone. The end.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful for a garage when
Same.
it snows. And so
Same,
now
same.
my family, we have 4 cars. So
Uh,
mine and David's cars were in the garage, and the boys' cars were in
It's
the
good for them.
driveway. Yes.
Good for them. What I hate the most
Awful.
is when you're driving down the highway and you have someone that literally cleared the 1 line or 2 lines. And as soon as you see the car getting onto the highway, and as soon as they start to accelerate, all that snow
Yeah,
comes
right
off.
back.
To your car.
But what's really dangerous, especially when it's on a truck or when it's ice that's on there,
Oh, yeah.
when those will crack your those
For
will
sure.
bust your windshield
Yeah.
open if it comes off. So
that actually happened to me, but it wasn't snow. It was a piece of plyboard.
Oh God.
Story for another time.
So
That
wait,
would
is
be
all
me
of this-
for all of eternity?
is all of this your Shonda?
That was
The
that's my
snow and
Shonda. It's
people not-
just all of the terrible actions that people do when the snow happens.
All right, I was going to use
Jeremy?
the snow as a Shonda.
Go for it.
Yeah.
No, people that don't clean off their cars, but
Uh-huh.
I have
I
a
mean,
whole.
we
I
have a
haven't been here.
myriad of Shondas.
I haven't been here in 3 weeks. I have quite a bit.
So you get 3. Go.
I'll use one. I'm going to share Ben's one, but mine would be sidewalk etiquette. And I'm not talking about
Sure.
an extra large sidewalk if you're at an amusement
Like a
park
regular
or
sidewalk.
On a regular sidewalk, if there is one person walking northbound
Mm-hmm.
on the sidewalk and there are 2 people walking side by side
Mhm.
coming southbound on the sidewalk, a regular sidewalk, there's really enough room for 2 people to pass comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
3 people can, but then the one person kind of has to move onto the grass.
No, the 2 people, one should walk behind the other.
And
right?
that's
When
where I'm
passing,
getting at.
yeah.
If I am
That's what should
walking
happen.
down the sidewalk and there are 2 people coming towards me next to each other, one of those 2 people, unless the 3 of you think I'm wrong,
No.
one of those people
Yeah.
should either move to the front or to the back
Right.
so that both people
It's
can
very
pass.
easy to do.
And
It's simple.
I don't know if this is a Florida thing or what it is, but multiple times over the past 3 weeks, the people would just keep coming, and each time they would walk by, I said the same thing all 5 or 6 times. Entitled. And I would keep on walking. Because that's what that is. That is entitlement. That why should you walk side by side and force someone that's walking just in a single line onto the grass? Entitlement.
Did you ever try walking between them?
I'd be afraid I would have knocked them down.
That's, I think, valid in that situation. Like, I have had occasion to see some pretty funny things.
Right? Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Funny
You're supposed
visual.
to
I don't
pass on
know if
the
I can
right,
even
but-
tell it, but it
Yeah.
involves a situation similar to that. And the person I was with was sort of done with the people behaving badly, and then a funny thing happened, and I still think about it a lot. I don't think I could tell it on the air, but
Yeah, that wasn't a good story.
yeah.
there.
No, I know. It actually is a hilarious story. I'll tell you all after.
But I feel like that's entitlement, right?
Of course it's
each
entitlement.
time
I don't- just like it's not difficult for 2 seconds to do this.
And maybe what it is, part of it, maybe the people weren't paying attention. I
No,
mean,
they're paying
there's-
attention.
There's a mirror, and like when we got back to Baltimore, very, very early Sunday morning, we had no food in the house because we had been gone for 3 weeks. So I went to the grocery store, and as I'm coming, and it was a little more crowded than it normally would be at like
Sure.
6:30 in the morning because there was snow coming that night. But as I'm walking out of the store, I have my basket with the bags. There's a lady coming in, and she goes through the automatic doors, pushing a cart. She's looking down at her phone, texting as she's walking in, but she's pushing her cart in the middle of the door. Like I'm on one side, she's in the middle. So of course, I just stop, have her go around me, and then just start.
Jeremy.
Well, wait a minute. Start shaking my cart a little bit, like whoa, and then she jumped up because she realized and then as she walked by, she just looked at me, and I said, "I hope you don't drive like you walk with the cart." And she was just kind of in her own world, and it's like you're mowing people over
my
with your cart.
When people like leave shopping in the grocery store and they just like leave their carts in the middle of the aisle. So now I don't even stop anymore. I just keep going. I'll bang mine into theirs, and they'll be like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "No, you just left it in the middle here, and I've got places to be. So sorry, not sorry. So don't stop anymore.
Not
Just keep going."
sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
Stay
not.
to the right.
7 Mile is
Not difficult.
Big on that.
Yeah.
This morning I went to 7
Abandoning
Mile
your-
for Teresa.
Yeah. Well, just keep going, Jill.
Oh, I think I will.
Give it a try. See
That's
what
a
happens.
tough place.
You're not confrontational, so
It's
you
a
won't do
tough-
it.
That's
but
that parking lot gets me.
It can be treacherous.
Yeah.
I park on the street behind it and will
Oh,
just
yeah.
walk, and it's
Uh-huh.
I can't.
I do love it there, though.
It's a great place for many reasons, but then also there are some challenges as well. But
I
that's a story
appreciate
for
it.
another time.
Yes.
I
Well,
appreciate
you for
it,
sure appreciate it.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor either, but hey, call Amanda.
That's right.
On that note,
Shavua Tov, everybody. You've been listening to Havdalah Happy Hour on the Beth El Podcast Network. You can find all of our shows wherever you go to listen to your favorite podcasts or on the congregation's YouTube channel. Remember to follow us on all our social media platforms, especially for weather information, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search Beth El Balto. Shavua Tov in advance. And not, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week and take care.
Shavua Tov.
We miss you, Yvonne.
Shavua Tov.
Come back
Hopefully
soon.
from California.
Yeah. All right.
no more snow.
No more snow.